So far I've only made a bunch of 2D games, but now I'm gonna try and make a 3D game in a week for the Scream Jam, which is a game jam but for horror games, which happens every October for obvious reasons. And I am really bad at making 3D games, which is why I haven't made any so far. But let's see how I do this time. Well, I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do in this jam, but I knew I needed a first-person character controller. I made it all in a dark scene, and even gave a flashlight to the player. Next, I made the light follow the player rather than being completely stuck to the camera, so it feels a lot more nicer to use. Making character controllers are usually very easy, and they are not the reason why I avoid making 3D games. What scares me the most about making 3D games is level design. I have no idea how to go about doing it. The only idea I had was mashing up a bunch of boxes together to make a level, but that's not really good practice. And the game engine I'm using, Godot, will really start to struggle with too many boxes around. So I was doing some research on what the best ways to do 3D level design were. People suggested using plugins, such as Cyclops. But when I tried it, it seemed to work. But there were visual glitches too, and it also made the editor crash many times. So I had to find something else. Someone on Reddit recommended something called Godot Play, and it seemed really promising. But when I tried to install it, it did not work at all. But finally, I discovered a built-in Godot feature, the grid map node, which is basically a tile map in 2D, which I am very much familiar with, but in 3D. So I went into Godot's documentation and learned how it worked, and then tried it out myself, and it worked really well, and it was super easy to make levels now. I made a whole item interaction system to use later, and then added a shader to the whole game, which I took from the Godot shader website, because I don't know how to code shaders. But anyway, it makes it look like one of those retro style horror games. And then to make the game look somewhat good, I went to Sprite and made some textures for the floor and a brick wall. I added both of them to the game and it was already starting to look good. But now I had to do some 3D modeling. And I'm not really that good, but I have some experience and made this guy in Blender. I didn't really know a thing about rigging and bones, so I just went to this site Mixamo to rig my character and give it some high quality animations. I found this walking animation that looked really good and downloaded the new model with the animation. So I put him into the game and now he's walking in one place, which is probably not what we want. So I made him move around, except he doesn't face you, which looks very weird. So I made him always face the player, and now we have a threat. Although he still doesn't do anything even if he catches you, but I'll get to that later. So we don't really have any gameplay, and I still have a whole item interaction system that I never once used. So now I'm going to do something with it. I have a very simple idea. You will be stuck in a little map with him, and you will have to find a fuse to fit in a fuse box so that you can turn on the lever to power the door and find your way up. So I went to Blender again and made some horrible low poly models for the fuse box and a fuse, and then added them to the game. Anyway, the coding part is easy. I just made this fuse on the box visible when you use it, and then made another horrible lever model which is animated, and it won't stay on if the connected fuse box isn't powering it. And then I added an actual fuse that you can pick up and place in the fuse box. And then I finally added a door. The game is pretty quiet, so I decided to go and do some sound design. It was really fun and made the game feel so much better to play. I was starting to burn out on the game earlier because I just didn't think it was good, but doing some sound design just brought me back. But this game is missing something. Something big. Something that makes horror games, well, horror games. And of course I'm talking about Jumpscares. And I went and made a little animation for it. When he catches you, this jumpscare animation plays and you lose. Of course it's missing some sound effects, so let's look for some. But overall, I'm not really happy with how the monster works. Right now, he just constantly follows you all the time. So to make things interesting, I did this. Yes, he now teleports. Just to keep you on your toes a little bit. It does make the game a lot harder, but trust me, once you understand how he works exactly, he is super dumb and easy to avoid. But I won't tell you how he works exactly, so you can find out by playing the game yourself. Now I have pretty much all the systems in place. All I need is to do some level design. Thanks to the grid map system, this was very easy. I made a windscreen for when you get to the end, and even made a main menu so you could actually play the game. And also decided to call the game Desolate, because of how lacking and empty the game is. But it also sounded like a cool spooky name. And I also added a speedrun timer if that interests you. But yeah, the game is done and I have a whole day left. So I made the game page and submitted it for voting. But then I went and actually tried to play the game, and the shade is completely trashed in the web version. Godot isn't the strongest with 3D, and I'm not the best with shaders, so I had no way to fix it and just deleted them from the game. And now you can tell apart each individual polygon on the monster that chases you. I did not touch the game at all in the last day, but turns out horror games are just easy money. I got a lot of plays even though the jam didn't end. And like a few people have even made no commentary gameplays, which was pretty cool. And I later decided to promote this on my channel for a bit by making a short, which gave some people nightmares. So yeah, this was quite an experience. I made my first 3D game, which I thought I could never do, and ended up with this mediocre horror game. But yeah, you can try out the game yourself. All the links are left below this video, and if this game spooked you and you won't put me through all the pain of updating it, I will if you make me reach 5,000 subscribers. So yeah, like and subscribe, and join my Discord. We have a nice small community there, and you'll get to see some of my newer projects even before I announce them here. And yeah, that's it. But if you'd like to see how I won a game jam with my much better 2D game development skills, then check out this video. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.